Hello, welcome to today's video. I'm just going to be showing you how to build a basic 2x1 starter base in Rust. I'm still learning how to play the game really, and as I've learned, I found it easiest to just build a small, efficient base that gets the job done, but also does a pretty good job at protecting your gear, especially if you're playing on a high pop, fast-paced kind of server. You know how important it can be to get a base down as soon as possible. So I like to start with a basic 2x1, 1, 2, in one little row. All stone, sheet metal double door. I like to do the sheet metal double door. You could technically just do a single door here, but I like the space. I like the space to be able to jump in and out without having to worry about getting stuck in the doorway. It's nice, and it keeps me, keeps things kind of efficient. The movement is easy, the jump is easy, and getting in and out. You don't want to, go on a barrel farming run and get stuck on your doorway and then someone kills you, takes your stuff. That would be devastating. We've all been there. But yeah, obviously, first things first, TC placement is very key. I want to try and get it. It's not my best TC placement. But I want to get as snug and flush to that wall as possible. Did a pretty good job on this side, so should be okay. And obviously always lock your TC so nobody can come in and just steal all your best stuff. So this design is very compact. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to help you kind of, build a very efficient starter base. If you're new to Rust and you don't really know, where to get started, you might see, your favorite YouTubers building all these crazy monster type bases really efficiently, and you're like, oh, I can do that. But let's be real, you probably can't. It's a lot harder than they make it out to be, or they make it seem. Not that they're trying to fool you or anything. It's just I like to watch that stuff and then we get in the game and realize that it's not as easy as what they make it look like. So knowing the very basics of how bases in this game work is really, really important, especially when you're getting started. So as you can see, little basic 2 large box, 2 small box setup can be kind of a pain in the butt to get into. It's still possible if you can kind of clip yourself into where the small box is, and then you have a pretty decent amount of storage. You actually might even be able to fit in a campfire into your core here, at least to get started. Sometimes the hitboxes on this are a little weird, so you might have to remove this and place the campfire first. Make it as snug as possible. And yeah, there you go. Now you can place it all. So there's your little compact core. You might even be able to fit another box there, but I don't think, probably not. But yeah, I mean, 4 boxes to get started, a campfire, obviously TC access. This also will get on your nerves, right? So, okay. Oh, I'm glitched. That's great. So we'll just delete this. Sometimes you get a weird glitch where you can't pick up the doors, but that jump gets a lot easier once you go and upgrade to a garage door, which is, the intention. Getting a garage door as fast as possible is really, really helpful. Makes this easier, makes your base a little harder to raid. Just gives you a lot more space and roominess. And you only need a tier 2, so it's a little bit of scrap grind, but it's honestly not the worst thing in the world. But let's also showcase what you can put in this little room. So obviously you have your core room. This will essentially be your core to the base, because eventually you'll want to expand. You can really expand a 2x1 any way you want. I'll show you a basic 2x2 design that I usually go to. It's really simple. It's really easy to pick up and just kind of run every time you play. It's a good way to get a starter down. Like if this isn't your final base, you just want something to get down, collect resources, grind scrap, get some BPs. It's great. It's great for that. You can fit 2 furnaces there. You can put your initial tier 1. You can also fit a tier 2, probably a tier 3 back there as well. But to get started, obviously you'll probably be a tier 1. You can fit your sleeping bags here. You can put that one pretty snug there. And then if you're playing as a duo, I think you can... I mean, I've run this with a quad before. You know, once you upgrade to the 2x2, it gets pretty easy. So, you know, this is really easy and efficient as a solo or a duo, and eventually once you expand, it's even probably good enough for a trio, a quad, whatever. And you even have a little extra space. If you wanted to put your campfire here for easier access, that's probably not a bad idea, or you can just, you know, squeeze in a small box, or maybe even another furnace. Yeah, you can even squeeze in another furnace, get 3 furnaces going, and you have a nice little starter 2x1. Simple. When you're looking to expand, I like to just do 2 more squares out, so it's a nice 2x2 design. And when you start, if you do a little half wall and floor there, oh, it doesn't work. Oh, yes it does. You just have to finagle it a little bit. You can actually put a little stone triangle there. Get rid of these. And you have a nice little shelf in your TC room that you can jump into. You can add another box here. You know, if you play Rust, right, or you're looking to play Rust, having as much storage space as humanly possible is really, really important. There we go. That's probably the best way to do it. Can stick. Sometimes, yeah, you can do that. That works. Doesn't have to be as flush. It's not as important. These are just extras at this point. But if you have trouble, you can just maybe pick up a sleeping bag, place a small box, jump on that, and you get easier. You might have an easier time, you know, placing those. But you get to squeeze in another large box and a small box there. And you still have TC access. You can still open that. You can still open that. You can still open the big box, small, big, close. That's all sealed inside. So you have a nice little initial loot room. This eventually, I mean, you should always keep your best stuff in your core. So this will be the most protected. You might end up sheet metaling this. I definitely would. Sometimes you even, if you get rich enough, you can upgrade to armored. As you see, it's 4 times as strong as stone. So that would be a huge upgrade to your base. But then, so once you have that shelf down, you can come out here, upgrade these to stone. The layout is kind of, at this point, I always like to freestyle it a little bit. I mean, eventually you might want to upgrade to sheet metal, but not yet. If you're just getting started, you're probably not smelting enough, metal, or really anything, to really require so much metal in your TC. So once you upgrade to metal, like your metal wall, you'll need, so let's look right now. Because of the garage door and the metal doors, you need 79 metal. But as soon as we upgrade even just one wall, that's another, you know, almost 30 metal frags. And it's going to be like that for every wall that you go to and upgrade. So it's good to just stick with the stone. It's a lot cheaper. You can use the metal for making weapons and other utilities. I like to save metal for obviously more doors and garage doors because it's a little bit cheaper, but also electricity stuff to get your base set up and be a little bit more efficient. You know, especially at nighttime, having lights at nighttime can be a game changer. And I'll show you a little basic design to this 2x2 that I like to implement. So basically, this will act as my airlock, typically. So I upgrade this, we add another door. And then I usually make this kind of my jump up. So, you know, you either want to just keep this open, or you can just keep it as a wood ceiling so nobody can come in. If you're not ready to upgrade to the electricity and the jump up yet, you can just keep this as wood, and it's really easy to just machete your sword out. So from here, I'll add another little furnace, or you can do a ladder hatch, but this is probably what most people would be doing. So you can add this, can make a little jump up frame. Actually, did that wrong. So wherever the furnace is facing, so the idea is you jump up here, and then you can jump out like that. Take some practice, but once you get it down, it's a pretty simple jump, and it's gonna make your life easier by being able to expand to a ceiling and whatnot. So we'll just stick a frame there. We'll put another door to protect, so they can't just ladder up your base and jump up. And then we'll add some solar panels. So again, these are only tier 2. They require a little high quality metal and some tech trash, stuff like that. Stuff that's pretty cheap to make, and it gives you some energy. And you can provide your base with some electricity very easily. So usually 2 is pretty good. Try to look where the sun is going to be. So west to east. So that's a pretty good setup. What I like to do with my solar panels is I'd like to put them in a root combiner here. I'll bring my electric tool. So I'm not going to be the most neat. Sometimes I'm not the best at keeping my electricity, like my wiring, nice and neat. It does, you know, help my OCD a little bit, but with this, sometimes I can't help myself, and I want to get it done. So you have that set up. So now I should probably explain this, right? So now what we're doing, these solar panels are absorbing sunlight, and you're outputting it to this root combiner. So now both these solar panels are putting energy into this root combiner. So then you're basically going to connect that to whatever, you know, electricity storage type that you have. I just have a medium battery here. It's pretty efficient, and it's pretty small. You can fit it into a small base like this, which is really nice. Sometimes if you place this correctly, you can squeeze it into the corner there, but this is fine. This is out of the way. So we got that. And then what we do here is we take the output. You can see it's putting out 40 energy, or yeah, output is 40. And we'll just, for the sake of time, bring this down. It doesn't have to be nice and neat. If you know you have the time and you're just like maybe killing some time at nighttime and you want to make it look nice and neat, by all means, so be it. So now both of those with the root combiner are charging. You can even use the battery. I didn't even think of this, dummy. You can even use the battery as your jump up. So now solar panel 1 is going here, solar panel 2 here, but then the energy is combined, it's coming out, going down, and now it's connected to the input of the battery. And as you can see, the capacity is 9,000 rust watts, whatever it's called, and it's going up by 1 every few seconds, which is good. So you're getting double the solar panel charge, and obviously with solar panels at nighttime they don't work, but this is still being charged. And for the little bit of basic electricity that I like to do in a base like this, that's really all you'll need. Obviously something like a wind turbine is more efficient, but it's not the biggest of deals. So you have your battery, it's charging. I can't stand being in my base at night, and I can't see, so having some basic light sources, you know, in the core of your base, so you can move around, be efficient, and not have to worry about I always forget to put this off to the side. I also don't really use these. if you're not into buying skins or anything, honestly, the industrial light is really good. It's really nice and compact. Let me show you here. They do cost some money, but you can buy these in the store. So you can see ceiling lights are 50 metal fragments, industrial wall lights are 30, and they're a little bit smaller. As you can see, they provide pretty similar, like, I mean, it gets the job done, right? So, and stuff like this, when you're trying to be as compact as possible, just sticking a wall light right here, especially in like a situation like this where you have a jump up, it's nice and just easy to do. It's just easier to have, and it provides the same light and a little bit cheaper to craft. So I usually like to go that route. So yeah, we place our lights. Well, I mean, this is very basic here. I like to have a splitter. You can put your splitter pretty much anywhere. The splitter placement doesn't really matter in a small base like this. This is where things can get messy. If you're like me and you kind of don't really care about your placement of your wiring, but you can put your output from the battery to the splitter, and now this is receiving energy, and with this we can split to 3 different outputs. So one of these outputs I will make my lighting, so that it's not running all the time. You're building energy, and when it's daytime, you obviously don't need the lights to be on. I like to put it in my core somewhere that I'm like, you know, usually at when it's turning nighttime, so we can just stick it right there, and we connect. We'll do simple up, or out and up. We'll bring it through the wall here, and we'll put it. Put it here, so you can see the green light. It's being powered, but obviously it's not powering anything because you need to take the output and connect it to other things. So just hug it in the wall here. We do have a light over here we want to bring. If you are trying to be organized with your lighting, make sure you find the closest light, and then you connect your switch to like the farther, you know, I like to think of it like a line. So I bring it to the farthest back into my base, whatever I have, you know, the light that I have in my core, whatever. I start there, I connect the switch to that light, and then you can just do a pass through. You just pass through everything. And for the sake of time, we'll just, you know, be a little sloppy with it. It's okay. Boom. Next light is this way. So we'll just come back up. If I can, I'd like to overlap the wire so it doesn't look as bad. Obviously I'm rushing a little bit for the sake of time, trying to keep this video at a decent length. And now all of that's connected, and you turn it on and you have good lighting. It's pretty sweet. All the things you can fit in here. Next, if you're at a point where you feel like you want to maybe upgrade a little bit, I really like the electric furnaces, and anytime I can, I try to implement them into my wipe, because they are honestly so useful, especially if you're a solo and you don't feel like farming wood all the time. These are a game changer in that sense, because you're saving time, you're not farming as much wood, and you actually get to spend some time and, you know, just smelt. As long as you have electric going, these will just smelt all day long until you turn them off. You can just fill them up, you You know, you don't need anything other than ore, sulfur, metal, whatever it might be. You just stick it in there and it just smelts all day long. You get 2K in a really quick amount of time without having to put any wood. And you can go out and, you know, run your monuments, do your PvP, whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about coming back and checking and refilling your furnaces. So as soon as I can get them, I like to upgrade to mostly, and I say mostly because mostly electric furnaces, and I say mostly because if you only run electric furnaces, the problem you run into is charcoal, because they won't produce. You can't put wood in them at all, so you won't be producing any charcoal, which can be a problem later down the road. So the little system that I have is I like to keep my furnaces for jump ups, which is, you know, just the way that I do it. I keep my furnaces for jump ups. So I'll use these to smelt sulfur. These will always be cooking sulfur, unless I'm like mass producing cooked sulfur, right? If I'm gonna braid somebody. But I always, I'm smelting a little bit of sulfur with this, so that I can be producing charcoal at all times. So that's just the way that I supplement the lack of charcoal. But otherwise, if you're looking to expand to metal or high quality, you know, as soon as possible, I like to run these electric furnaces. It's really nice. It's honestly one of the coolest updates to this game that I've seen in a while. So I like to do, the easiest way to do it is to make an additional splitter. So you run out of one of these. Maybe this isn't the most efficient way. If you know a better way, let me know in the comments. But I just take one of my outputs, put it to this other splitter, and then I connect these outputs to my electric furnaces. Oh, I put that in the wrong one. So we'll do this one more time. And boom. We'll turn these on just for the sake of you seeing how they work. You just stick the ore in, and then it just outputs. And you can do different outputs, so you can do metal ore, sulfur ore, and then it's gonna make all the stuff that it needs to make. Yeah, and as you can see, during the daytime, it's still pretty efficient. You're still adding to the capacity, which is really nice, even with these running. So even just with a medium battery, simple electrics like this can go a long way. And even with the lights turned on, let's see how it works. During the day, you're still, you know, not using more than you're gaining. So your active usage is 19, and you're still getting more than that, which is nice. And obviously these won't be on during the day, but just in case you want it to run both at nighttime, then boom, you're good. And yeah, I mean, this is maybe not the most efficient. I'm not a professional by any means, but this is just me taking what I've learned in my few hundred hours of playing the game and trying to, you know, pass on that knowledge to other new players who might just be getting introduced to Rust. This is like the most basic base design that I like to go with. Obviously, don't forget your honeycomb. If you want to be super efficient, just honeycomb maybe around your core. Oh, not there. I usually just honeycomb everything to make raiding a little harder. I don't like to do too much to the front. Like if they raid into this, that's okay. My battery's here in the way, right? So they would kind of have to, they'd have a hard time, probably have to raid through this, and it'd be a pain in the ass for them, right? So that kind of acts like internal honeycomb, for lack of a better word. But basically, if you're wondering what I mean by honeycomb, I'm dumb and should explain this. Honeycomb is just a term for like an extra layer of protection. That's what people call it. So by doing this, they can't just raid. So like if someone were to just come and raid this wall, oh no, they're at TC. Shit. But by adding this, by adding an extra layer on the outside, with, I usually just do triangle foundations, you know, 2 walls on either side, and a top, and a floor, triangle floor on the top. Do this, and that's, you know, doubling the raid cost. And then as you upgrade, it just furthers and furthers the amount that it takes to actually raid the space. You can do this. And you can go, oh no, I forgot to put a floor there, and then you have your little jump up from the inside, so you can expand from the roof as well. Entomb myself. But yeah, so now on most wipe days, your base will be pretty secure. And honestly, this is pretty cheap. You can probably, it's pretty achievable to do this, you know, in your first few hours if all things go right. Patch this here. And yeah, you're doing pretty good. Another thing, you can probably change. We'll pick these up for the sake of showing. A really popular method of raiding is top-down raiding. So people will just go try to get onto your roof, and they'll just blow up the roof and probably splash and have both of these open. A way to defend from that, especially if you have very important, you know, if you want to protect your core, you can actually honeycomb the roof as well by just simply putting low or half walls. Actually, I think you have to do half walls. So scratch that. We'll do half walls. Okay. Alright, that's fine. For the sake of the video, it's fine. Do half walls. That's, you know, a little bit of honeycomb. So now they have to blow through double what they would have to anyway. And if you want to just kind of protect and make them have to guess which side you put your TC on, then you can just double up. Just double up, and yeah. So now they're going to have to try and guess which side your TC's on. And either way, they're going to have to blow through double. And same thing if they want to go from the outside. And yeah, then you just kind of force them to go through doors. And obviously, this becomes your weak point, because this is the cheapest way to raid. So this would be one of my first upgrade points, since, you know, this is the cheapest way to get into my core. You could also just add a little... You could also just add an airlock to this by doing this. This is maybe not so efficient, but if you were scared of that and you didn't have the resources to necessarily upgrade, you can just do this, and yeah, and you can still have access up here. You can still put, obviously, your solar panels and run your electricity, and you can be on top of your base and, you know, attack wherever you want. And this is a pretty tough raid, truthfully. Pretty tough raid. It's pretty compact. You can expand further however you want, but as a starter base, I would say this is pretty decent. This is what I found to be pretty decent anyway. Actually even looks pretty nice and aesthetic, if you ask me. Maybe not aesthetic, but... yeah, I mean, maybe the only other thing I do is just add a final airlock to the base with a single door. Go here. Just something easy. You know, so if you decide you wanted to add some, you know, some more boxes in here, maybe some drop-off boxes or some more furnaces, whatever. If you decide you want to put your furnaces there on top of your electronic furnaces, you can just add a little airlock so that you can close here, and then there's nothing in here. They'd still have to go through a door to get to any kind of loot other than what you have on your body. So you just open, and yeah. And then one little triangle airlock like that, and it's pretty easy to expand beyond. But honestly, from here, you do whatever you want, or you just say, when I'm done with this base, I'm done with the base, and I'll go make an actual base, because this guy has no clue what he's talking about in terms of complex base building. Which, if you said that, you'd be very right, because I am no professional. I'm just here trying to help new players understand how to build a very easy, very achievable first day starter base. And honestly, I've had wipes where I've spent my entire wipe in this, you know, a 2x2 like this, and it's been pretty good. Yeah, if you like this base design, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video, like the video, subscribe for more Rust guide content and other survival game content as well. And leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know if this is actually a pretty decent design, what things you would adjust, or maybe some other ideas that I can showcase in a video. Other than that, that's about it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.